This to make it 28-3. Arthur Blank loving it. Up by 25. Toss to White. He's in! What a comeback!
All right, welcome back to the 28-3 podcast. I'm Corey. You're here with Max and Nick. Coming to you remote for this one. We are recapping whatever the hell that was that happened in Los Angeles on Sunday. And, you're probably going to hear us. I haven't really talked to y'all much after the game. I was going to say you're probably going to hear us get pissed off and frustrated. But then again, at this point in the season and what's going on, it's kind of like we don't really expect a whole lot else from this team. But there are some team stats that we're going to get into that are just abysmal and shouldn't happen no matter how bad your team is, specifically time of possession stats that surround that. But kick things off first with Max. What's your overall take? What do you want to get into about this one?
Yeah, the game itself obviously was a complete beatdown from start to finish. Nick and I were talking about this before you hopped on that, it was over basically after the first drive. The defense could not stop anything. The Rams did whatever they wanted to do. Our offense could do nothing in the first half up until that last drive where they got the touchdown right before halftime. But man, that was as thorough of a beating as I've seen in a while. A little bit different than the beating that the Seahawks put on us. That one was just one of those comedy of errors that just kept adding up. And like that little snowball that turned into an avalanche. This one was different. This one just felt like the Saints were, sitting there watching the Rams do a 7-on-7 drill for the first half. Yeah. Like they couldn't do anything. It was like they weren't even there. Stafford was just completing passes at will. The guys were running the ball. We couldn't do anything. Now we'll say we had a good debate before you hopped on about the players of the game. So I definitely want to, before we even let Nick say anything, I want to get your thoughts on offensive player of the game and defensive player of the game.
Yeah, look, we had 40 whole plays on offense. We held the ball we had 16 minutes of game time to decide who stood out the most. You certainly can't give it to any of the running backs. Olave had a couple of nice catches mostly towards the end there. I was thinking my prediction of Juwan was looking pretty good for a while there, but then he did his typical Juwan things. Thankfully, after his touchdown, which we'll get into the significance of that in a little bit. But I have to give it to Shough. It just, out of any one offensive guy who, did the most, what guy on offense played the best in a pretty dismal offensive performance, I think you have to go with him. We never awarded to O-lineman anyway, but the O-line stunk up the place. So it wasn't one of those games where it was like, oh, so-and-so didn't allow any pressures. I think it was pretty colossal failure on all five in this one. Devin Neal didn't really do anything to get it. Alvin certainly doesn't get it for this game. So when I look at it, unless there's something I'm forgetting or missing, I have to give the Shough.
All right, so
go ahead.
That's where I was with it. And Nick and I had about a 10-minute discussion before you hopped on, and he was against it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to him and let him say his piece.
I think if there's any optimism coming out of anybody about anything they saw from Shough, it's just hope. There was nothing good to me that he did. We come out the game 3 and out. They score a long drive. We all know how football's a complimentary game. If defense is on the field for a 9-minute drive, 90 yards, whatever it was, I don't remember the exact time, but I know they were around their 10-yard line when we punted the ball. And drive down the field the whole way, you got to come out and you got to at least get a first down or two, give them a break. We don't. We punt. Defense does happen to come back out. 3 and out's them. Gets us the ball right back. What do? 3 and out. We punt again. They go down another 6 or 7 minute drive, 11, 10, 12 plays, something like that, straight down the field again. We come back out. We go to Taysom. Taysom breaks off a 30-yard run, and we get a field goal. I can't give Shough much credit for that drive. They get the ball back. They go right down for another touchdown, 65 yards. We get it back. Like, okay, let's stop the bleeding. We're down, I think it was 20-3 after the missed extra point. What do? We 3-and-out again. They drive. I believe that's where they missed the field goal. They go down, and Justin Reed kind of breaks through. Doesn't look like he tips the ball or anything, but they miss it wide. Kicker, 2 straight kicks he misses. We get it back. Decent little drive building. Then he takes the sack, doesn't throw it away. We luck out with the personal foul. Get down with 13 seconds left. He was essentially sacked at, I think, around our 35-yard line. That's going to be a long field goal attempt because we only 13 seconds left. We get bailed out by the personal foul, which was definitely a personal foul. There's no questioning that. But if he just dips his head and doesn't make contact with the helmet, that's a sack, and we're not going to get a touchdown that drive. To his credit, makes a good throw to Juwan on that play. Juwan actually makes, a good play, turns it inside, gets in. If he gets tackled there, we're going to be forced to kick the field goal also. Then we go into half. To me, we had gotten a little lucky with the penalty, the 2 missed kicks. Like, I kind of felt like, I can't believe we're only down 10 points. We were getting absolutely throttled. The offense hadn't done a thing. He had like 80 yards. He did have the touchdown, no turnovers, which is great. Then, we come out in the third quarter. We have to give them the ball. We get the ball back. Then AK fumbles. You can't blame him for that, obviously. We had gotten a first down. Then AK immediately fumbles. Next drive, we had a decent, we're down huge at this point. To me, at this point, it doesn't even matter. And that's where most of his production came, as after that. Had, I think, 94 of his yards after we were down 24 points. I don't know that means a whole lot, but I don't think I can't say he lost the game, but he did nothing to influence this game whatsoever. Barely. I mean, going 3-and-out, 5 of your first, if you count the fumble, which I don't put that one on him, it's 6 of the first 7 drives as a 3-and-out.
Well, real quick, you keep mentioning 3-and-out and Shough in the same sentence. I mean, are you putting the 3-and-outs on him or the play calling?
I mean, you can blame whatever you want. He's not completing third down passes, so maybe it's all bad play calling. Fair enough, but if you can't get a first down on 6 of your 7 drives, I mean, it's pretty bad. And you're the quarterback, and that's going to fall on you, regardless of the play calling. So I'm not saying the dude's career's over or, oh, God, we're screwed or anything like that. I just don't think he played anything that showed me anything on this one game. It's one game. I don't think he didn't have 4 turnovers. I guess that's good, but did he do anything to influence that game at all? I don't think he did. I think he was just there. Play calling's been bad all year. So it in all honesty, it just looked like a Rattler game, 170 yards, touchdown, a pick, took a sack, took another sack that we got lucky, got called back. No real impact on the game, 10 offensive points, just same old story as all year long, different QB.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole offense was pretty pitiful. I mean, but in terms of the offensive player of the game, like, who did impact the game positively for the offense?
Nobody.
Who was
nobody
better?
did. Absolutely nobody.
Right. So
this was a prime week that no one should get it, but since we have made the adjustment where someone has to get it, I'm with Corey. Look, here's the deal with Shough. No matter what he did yesterday, I wasn't going to get too high, and I'm not going to get too low. I saw enough that I'm still intrigued. I told Nick that it was going to be a TBD going into that game. Now there's a TBD going out of that game, as to my opinion on Shough. I still don't think he's the long-term answer, but I also don't think he's absolutely not it. I'm intrigued because I know he's better than Haener. I know he's better than Ian Book. I know he's better than all the quarterbacks we've drafted. And to me, his floor is what Rattler brought to the table this year. So
I don't think that's his floor. I disagree on that part. I do think what do I like is at least he tried a couple things downfield, it seemed like. And he did have a couple good throws. I mentioned to Max before we got on. My favorite play of the whole game was the one where he had to roll out a little bit and he hits Olave coming across the field. That was a really nice play. And then I really liked the deep out think it was a deep out that he threw to Olave for about 25 yards in the fourth quarter. I know the coverage was lax and all that, but that was an NFL throw for sure. That ball came out of his hand like a rocket. It was right on money. I'm not saying he did nothing good. I'm just saying he had no influence on that game. The game was over before he even got involved. And not all his fault, but he also didn't do anything that made me be like, all right, we got something. I still feel the same way. And I know maybe I'm a little more negative than most people on him. I hated picking him there. I know none of us loved picking him there. I hated it. I just thought we reached for the guy. My opinion doesn't change, nor would it have if he came out and threw for 350 yards. So it doesn't really matter as far as we're going to see it over this 10 games and we'll have at least, or 9.5, whatever we're going to get out of him. And I think at least we'll have some sort of clue by the end of that. This doesn't change it one way or the other for me. But I think Shaheed, Olave, Juwan Johnson all have the same claim to best player in this game because nothing was good. It wasn't good across the board.
The best thing would be to just not award it to anybody. But
no, y'all voted. It's 2-1. I'm fine with it.
If we have to pick, to me, because the rest of the team was worse than him. He's a rookie starting in his first game on the road in LA against the Rams, who have one of the best defenses in the league. That bomb to Shaheed lost it in the lights or whatever it was, slowed up.
He stopped running.
That changes the entire complexion of Shough's game if that pass gets completed. You got Kamara coughing it up on a routine play. You got Juwan dropping third downs that lead to fourth downs, and then the turnover comes after that. The rest of it, there was zero support. Now, look, that was also the case with Rattler and these guys then. You know, Juwan has been terrible all year. Olave's been terrible all year. Shaheed has been terrible all year. These guys do not do anything to help their quarterbacks out. I'm just watching the Cardinals play the Cowboys. I see Dak throw a pass that's off target. I don't remember if it was Pickens or Lamb or even the third guy, but the guy reaches behind him and still makes the catch. Our receivers don't do that. Like, it's like they go out of their way to just fuck our quarterbacks over.
Cooks had one.
Cooks has been good. Cooks was the only one who's playing like an actual veteran and kind of saying like, hey, I've got a guy in his first start ever in the NFL. Let me try to help him out a little bit and, you know, maybe make some plays that are normally out of my toolbox, and he's making them. These other guys, like, everyone tells me Olave's a superstar and he's our best offensive player. He does nothing to help the quarterback out. Shaheed is supposed to be this dangerous deep threat. He fucking slows down as he's looking up, lost. It's like he went full Delvin Breaux and just lost the ball in the lights and all of a sudden slows down. Juwan Johnson had his usual egregious drop, you know, and it's just...
The touchdown was a great play, though. I mean, he created that touchdown. That probably shouldn't be a touchdown. It should be a catch and tackle. He made a good play there. But the drop was atrocious. Play, the block at the end on the Taysom run was atrocious. I mean, it's just classic Juwan. It's one good play, two bad ones, right? Same thing we've seen his whole career.
But again, Shough had no running game. We couldn't run. You take out the Taysom Hill 29-yard run, what were the stats? They're pathetic. Absolutely pathetic when it comes to running the ball.
Taysom was 4 for 30. The rest was 10 for 27. But once again, 14 runs again. So
yeah, well, that's why I texted during the game. I'm like, you're about to see, you know, it's the last point you're going to see us with the same number of runs and passes. But, you know, the whole thing about, like, did Shough have a good game? Was Shough good? It's the way this game played out makes that it's just not, you know, there's two ways to look at it. You know, you can look at what he did in a vacuum with the 24 pass attempts that he had, or, you know, you have to look at it as the play calling, and then basically we played as complimentary bad football as possible in this game. I mean, like, the defense couldn't tackle. Staley's dropping in his zone on every third down, and Matt Stafford and the tight ends are just picking it the hell apart. And even when we weren't in zone, we couldn't wrap anybody up. The D-line, you know, as predicted, I mean, I thought we'd see more Kyron Williams, but we saw more Blake Corum. And it just, I mean, yes, the offense has to sustain drives, but the defense didn't do any, you know, they had the one stop you mentioned early. But other than that, the Rams did whatever the hell they wanted on offense. And I know 100%. Stafford's good and all that stuff, but, like, you just can't. I mean, anytime you have a 16-minute time of possession, like that's on both parties. Like,
yeah, and look at how the third quarter went. So we get the touchdown before half. All of a sudden, it's 20-10, in a game we have no business only being 10 points down on. So we go into halftime with that. Rams get the ball first. What do? They immediately go on a 10-minute drive that ends in a touchdown. We get the ball back. Shough hits a pass, complete. Shough throws the ball to Kamara. Kamara fumbles. Rams get the ball back. They go on like a 6-minute drive, basically to end the third quarter, score another touchdown. I think Mike Triplett said it best. He's like, it was 56 minutes of real time where the Saints didn't have the guy. It's like Shough just didn't have the ball.
Yeah, hadn't thrown a pass.
And the next thing you know, he's down 3 scores. And yeah, he's going to have to pass every single play at that point. Like it went from 20-10, all of a sudden to what, 30, whatever the score was. They were down 3 scores at that point.
It was just
27-10.
Because I mean,
my
like
part,
yeah.
Just to back up, just to piggyback off what Max said, you're talking about the third quarter, and I understand. We knew they were getting the ball in the third quarter. They destroyed us in the first half, right? Like they're going to come out and score most likely. They did whatever they want, just like Corey said. To me, the game was over at that point. I'm kind of like throwing it out, and 100% we had to throw in the fourth quarter with that being the circumstance once it was 34-10, obviously. But when you come out the game, the first 3 drives are 3-and-out punts. He was 2 for 5 for 9 yards and a sack. So, it's 7-0 going in the second quarter. We had 3 drives. After that, they go down and take another long drive. That game was over right there. We know it, right? So that's more of my problem with him, and I'm not blaming him at all, but it was 2 for 5 for 9 yards. It was 2 dump-offs on 6 dropbacks. That's all they'd created on 3 drives. Now, again, this isn't all on Shough. I'm not saying that he's the reason we're lost. Of course not. The defense could not have been worse. Like, there's no disputing that. They ran for 170, threw, I think, for 280. I mean, he probably had a perfect quarterback rating. I don't know. 4 touchdowns, no picks. I mean, it was at will, whatever he wanted. Kool-Aid was just letting Puka break off routes right in front of him with 10, 15 yards of, playing off of him. Guy's just eating him alive. As soon as he comes up and presses, he goes right over the top of him for a touchdown. I mean, it was awful across the board. The only one to me that was playing in the first half was Justin Reed. And then after that, the game was over. And, we made a couple plays on defense, I guess, to stop them when they're just trying to run out the clock. But, I mean, definitely the team was a complete failure. But I'm just not optimistic.
You texted me in the middle of the game. You said, this is one of the worst defensive performances I've ever seen.
It is.
By a Saints. Yeah. And that, to me, the defense was way more to blame than anybody on offense. But I am going to say this, and it's funny because Corey mentioned it. He talked about the play calling, and then we had Zach in our Discord actually bring it up, asking us to address our thoughts on Kellen Moore overall through 9 weeks. The play calling yesterday was an absolute train wreck. I hated that we took the ball, we took the opening kickoff. Always defer. We all know this from playing Madden growing up. It's the Madden rules. You always defer, take the ball in the second half. So we take the ball in the first half, which immediately my thought is, okay, he knows he's going to need points to win this game. He's playing a far superior team. He's going to be aggressive. That's my first thought. So we get the ball, run, pass. It's 4th and 1. He punts. So immediately I'm like, what are we doing here? If you're going to take the ball and it looks like you're going to be aggressive, you're going to need points are going to be at a premium against this team, just go for it at 4th and 1 at that point. You're 1-7. What are you jeopardizing? Like, let's see if the young rookie, or not the young, if the rookie quarterback has it in him at this point in a 4th and 1 situation on his own side of the 50. Let's see it. Yeah. What happens if you miss it? The same damn thing that's going to happen anyway. You're going to lose the game. This is David versus Goliath. Like, just fucking put your nuts out on the table and just be aggressive here. And that was my biggest issue. I was texting you guys and also in the Discord. This was a terrible, terrible game by Kellen Moore.
It was definitely by far his worst of the year.
Yeah, and it's like, I get the temptation of, utilizing Taysom Hill. And look, the 29-yard run was awesome. It looked vintage Taysom. He broke a couple tackles, and it looked like the beast that he's always been. But why are you letting him throw a pass? Why are you letting him be the primary guy for the next 2 plays after that one? And then they bring him in on the fourth down, and Juwan misses the block. He doesn't get the first down when we're inside their 10. I want to see Shough do this. You know what I mean? This is where we're supposed to be evaluating Shough. Let's see if he can pick up a 4th and 1 on a QB sneak, or if they want to do a tush push or whatever the hell we're calling it down here, or if they want to roll him out and pass it. Like, let's see what Shough can do. Nick's mentioned it before. He mentioned it earlier this episode. We have 9 games. We now have 8 to see Shough to formulate an opinion on him, on whether or not he can be the guy going forward. If we get the first pick in the draft, the pick has to be a quarterback.
Yeah.
Because to me, looking at this schedule, the way it plays out the rest of the year, we play the other bad teams. We have the Jets on our schedule. We have the Dolphins on our schedule. The Falcons they looked decent a couple weeks ago. They look terrible now. Like, these teams are on our schedule. So we're going to have a chance to win some games. So if this team somehow only wins 1 game, that first pick has to be a quarterback.
Yeah. Even the last game of the season is going to be the number 1 pick championship, us versus the Titans.
Could be.
But,
the Jets before that, too.
I agree. It was definitely discouraging to, like I said last episode, like I want to see I don't think the team has given us lip service by saying how smart Kellen Moore is and how well he knows offense inside and out and how good he is with all that stuff. And so I believe that to be true, but I'm waiting to see that translate into performance on the field. And it's like, okay, you decided to go with Shough and bench Rattler, presumably because maybe, you would think that's because you could do more with Shough, or Shough could run a few more plays out of your offense. But it's like Max said, you come out the gates and you're just conservative. It's like you're scared to let the guy loose, and then even I don't know if it's a receiver thing, but having multiple 3rd and mid, 3rd and long, where the receivers are catching it a yard before the sticks, almost like they were waiting for it before the sticks. Like, I don't know if that's receiving coaching, if that's the receivers not executing, if then do you want your offensive minded head coach to have more attention to detail to pick up on shit like that if that's happening in practice, and then I think the offensive line, we know the Rams have a strong front. Yes, of course. But Shough, he had a few, when he did have time to throw, when they were being less aggressive, I thought he was putting the ball where it had to go. I think the differences between him and Rattler, the stat sheet looks the same. The end result of the game was the same. And no, I'm not saying look beyond the results, because a loss is a loss. But he was stepping up in the pocket, not just like looking at the primary read and bailing. You did see him make multiple reads on the touchdown of Juwan. He did say that was supposed to be intended for Vele, and then that route was covered up, and so he ended up going to Juwan. If you watch the replay, you can see him start over to his right where Vele was. He goes back to his left. Shahid's the short guy out in the flat. Then he sees Juwan curl in. He pops him. That's the 3rd read, and it's a touchdown. So I do think Shough was doing things that were better than what we saw out of Rattler. It just, he had 30 plays in which to do it, 24 pass attempts, and there was no flow to this game. Even when you thought there was a flow, it's like your best guy is the one letting you down. Where, Kamara drops a 3rd down pass, and then you're like, all right, we finally got the ball in 3rd quarter, pop, fumble. So I think you look at it in a vacuum, his individual passes, the ball looked good, placement was good. I don't really think I'd have to go back and see if he completely just outright missed any of them. I'm sure there was a couple, but that is what it is. But it was, you wanted more. You wanted the whole team to be put in position more. And also, it's like, all right, so you don't have McCoy in there. They got a strong front. Like, where's the creativity and the protection? I just felt like the guys were on islands the entire time. There wasn't that many chips. You didn't see the tight ends in the backfield a whole lot. There was one play where Stoll lined up in the I formation, but yeah, it just, you hope that Kellen Moore can learn from this. You just got to see something different. You got to think he knows it, but it's like, can they adjust? So,
well, I think, I brought this up two or 3 weeks ago where I asked both of y'all, at what point are you worried about Kellen Moore? Because I think all 3 of us, maybe Corey and I a little more than Max, but question what the hell's going on with the run pass distribution for all season. Because, we can say this play calling was his worst of the season, but it looked very similar to all season. It's very, very pass heavy, pass forward, short game for the most part, kind of looked the same, just happened to be a really good defense this time that was able to like really make it look poor, I think. But there is, I'm going to say this again because we had these debates with Carmichael and DA and all that. And if this was Carmichael, Corey'd be going ape shit right now. Like
Correct.
You'd be fucking out like completely. You'd be like, what in the hell's going on? Why is this guy still in the building? Right.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I had that thought and I was like, damn it. If Nick asks me, did this look any better than Carmichael's offense? I'm going to have to say no. I'm going to have to.
It might look worse. I hate to say it. There is no explosiveness, no creativity, right?
Look worse.
Yeah.
There's been moments this year where you can see the play calls were there, but Rattler wasn't executing it, or someone on the O-line missed a block, or tight end missed a block. But yesterday was just across the board.
And you want to know what's crazy about that, Corey? I think that's the first game we had 4 plays of over 20 yards all season. Yesterday. So that's how bad it's been. I mean, it's been bad all year. Shough's got 10 points in 6 quarters. You can't blame that on him either. But like, this is just, to me, the offensive approach makes no sense when you're bringing along young quarterbacks and to be one of the most heavily passing teams in the league. And I understand if it was all garbage time, but we've seen it has not been garbage time. These games, for the most part, other than this week, last week, and Seattle, I would say, were not in hand until the fourth quarter. Right. So the play calling could have gone any direction you wanted all game long in the other 6 games. This one coming out after they scored in the third, you're probably restricted to passing. Bucks was fairly contested, even though we were down. We were never blown out where we couldn't run the ball if we didn't want to stick to it. Yeah. Seattle was a shit show. So we'll throw that one out. But, I'm starting to get worried about them just because there's been no change in the approach whatsoever. As it fails, and it seems to be failing worse in recent weeks, there's still been no pivot, no change up in creativity, no run game focus, no, anything. I guess he tried to bring Taysom in a little bit more this game. You could say maybe that was a small pivot. He gave him kind of a whole drive pretty much that ended in the field goal. Let him throw it once, tried some different stuff, maybe. But I'm a little worried. I mean, 1-8 is very bad. And if this finishes, 2-15 or something, it's one of the worst seasons in Saints history. It'd be one of the top 3. I think we've only lost 2 games 2 times in our history. So if it ends up something like that, you can't help but be worried. I don't care what the roster looks like. 2 wins is very, very bad, even with a bad roster.
Yeah, and you and I have talked about it a bunch over the last couple of weeks. Like, there are no truly great teams in the NFL right now. Like, there's a bunch of just good teams. There's a bunch of bad teams. So for a team to only win 1 or 2 games, that's an accomplishment, because you can fall ass backwards into 4 wins with the way this league looks. So if we only win 1 or 2 games, that is a massive indictment on Kellen Moore, first and foremost, and then furthermore on Mickey Lewis, because that should not happen under any circumstances in today's NFL, because it is built for parity. We've heard it over and over again over the past 10, 15 years. The NFL has been trying to get this level of parity to where everyone can win every week. And we're there, because there's no dominant team. I mean, I can't even tell you who I think the best team in the league is. The Colts, they look like one of the best teams. They got smacked around by the Steelers yesterday. Daniel Jones turned back into Daniel Jones from New York.
Chiefs, Detroit, been looking great, and then looked, not Detroit this week, but Detroit, was it a week ago? But the Chiefs this week were on a 3-game run where they were like humming in all cylinders. They come out, they got throttled by the Bills, And
look, the Panthers went into Green Bay and beat the Packers. The Packers look like, weeks 1 and 2, everyone thought the Packers were the best team in the league. Mm-hmm. So for the Saints to only win 1 or 2 games this year, that's bad. And to answer Zach's question in the Discord, that's a massive fucking indictment on Kellen Moore, that we are just steamrolling towards winning 1 or 2 games.
I think,
and I think we can get to 4. just out of luck because there are some bad teams in our schedule. But man, if it's 1 or 2 and Nick's hot take comes through, doesn't leave much optimism going forward.
Yeah, you've
I'll
said
be
it before.
excited to have the first pick and get a quarterback, but it's still going to be like, this might not be good.
Yeah, I think, and this isn't me trying to like throw some kind of optimistic spin on it. It's more just trying to see the all possibilities, as I like to do from time to time. But you said it before, Max, like with the Patriots and Drake May. I don't know if you were commenting on the Patriots themselves or Drake May, maybe more on Drake May, but like, their record, his rookie year was pretty abysmal. But it was like what did they look like in the process of getting there, right? So if we end up with two wins, that's incredibly alarming. But what would be most alarming is if we get there and we don't see anything different than the type of football we've seen the whole time. If we continue to see, this team score, like have a ceiling of 26 points scored, regardless of if any of that is defensive, and we continuously, the teams that are close to our level, they beat us by 1 score. Then we go against like sure bet playoff teams and we get routed. If it's, how many games do we have left now? 8? So if the last 8 games are the same as the first 9 in terms of theme and points scored, how they look, then yeah, I'm going to be most concerned. But if we can, maybe have a bounce back against Carolina, do something in the bye week, who knows? I don't think we're going to bring anybody in on the trade deadline, but if we can find games where, hey, there was a couple games where we got into the high 20s, like we scored 30 something points in a game. If something like that happens between now and the end of the season, or the defense just has like some kind of anomaly shutdown game where like Staley was just in his bag, if different things like that happen that shows that the coaching staff has adjusted, or shows that Kellen Moore can mix it up based, different than what he was doing, then that would kind of change my tune. But based on the trend, I mean, yeah, there's concern because we haven't seen. You would think that, okay, like how many games do you really need to say let's switch it up? It's been 9 games. So,
Well, I've got a question for you. So, what would need to be Tyler Shough's record over the 9 games he starts for you to be comfortable saying, you know what, I'm fine giving him 2026 as a starter? What do you need? What's the record need to be? And I asked because Nick and I had this conversation last week, and I have a number in my head, and he said, yeah, if he hits that, I'll be fine with him playing next year.
I mean, I'd want to see him in terms of winning games. I mean, we saw how long it took Spencer Rattler to win 1. I'd want to see him win at least 3, but in the process, he has to look, he has to have the right style of play, because there's a lot of, winning, as we saw with the Rams, whether or not this team actually wins the game can get way out of Tyler Shough's control real quick. If the defense can't tackle, if his receivers can't catch, if his veterans are dropping balls, if he's got 2 seconds to throw the ball, I mean, winning will quickly become out of his control. So, I'd say I'd ideally want to see 4. That would be 500 over the remaining schedule. But if it's 3 and he's not turning the ball over, no bonehead mistakes, he's showing poise in the pocket with the blitz, I'd be okay with that. It all depends on how he looks, to be honest. I mean, it's hard to just say here's a win-loss figure and that's all I need to see. I mean, how many games did Peyton Manning win? I'm not comparing him, but like he didn't win that many games. So it matters what you do, how you do it, more than if you
think you might.
No, that's a fair answer. But to me, like he has to beat the Jets, the Titans, and the Dolphins. To me, at a bare minimum. Like if you want to be considered, if you wanted to where the Saints are going to pass on a quarterback with their top 10 pick, you got to win those 3 at an absolute minimum. And then to me, you probably got to split with the Falcons at worst, and then ideally you would beat the Panthers once. I say that the Panthers have a winning record right now. So
we thought they were going to be the division team we could take, but they're second.
To me, he has. To me, he has to win 4 games. You gotta beat the three guys that are also in the top five in terms of draft pick right now, and then you got to beat the Falcons once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna add
Well,
a caveat to that though. Like, even if he wins 4, and
But you got to look good too. You got to look good too.
let's say he wins 4 the way Bryce Young is 5-4 right now. Bryce Young has like 150 yards a game. Okay,
Right.
Bryce Young isn't the reason. The defense has decided to go nuclear and be incredible. Derek Brown's dominating like by himself. I mean, he just dominated the Packers. If you saw any highlights from that game, the dude just destroyed them. I think for me, I would like to see consistently scoring 20 points a game first and foremost. Put points on the board. If we're losing 33-27, I might not feel bad about Shough. If we're in tight games and we're losing because the defense can't get a stop, okay, that's fine. I'm not going to take credit away from him for not being able to overcome, a defense that bad. We need to start scoring points. We have not scored 20 offensive points this season. We've played 9 games. That's pathetic. We're the lowest scoring team in the league now, dead last. We're the 4th fewest yards per game in the league now. This is a terrible offense. If he can somehow just kickstart it into mediocrity and us just start, we don't have to score 30 a game. Let's just get to like that NFL average of just over 20 points, get into a respectable spot where he shows that he brought the offense up a little bit, just brought it up from Rattler's 15, 16 points a game to that 20 points a game. Show us that. Then I think maybe you have a case to be made that, you can, if you're not feeling great about any of these quarterbacks, that you could trade down, accumulate picks and go that route. But I'll still say, if he doesn't come out and just destroy it, I don't know how you don't draft a quarterback. I think he's got to be exceptional at this point to not draft a quarterback. And that's probably not fair to him. But you only get a top 3 or 4 pick a few times. I mean, we've only drafted first once in the history of the franchise.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So do you pass on a quarterback you like, even if you think Shough might be the answer? I think it's no. It's kind of like Tennessee last year. Was Will Levis great? No. Was he better than Spencer Rattler? Probably. Right? Could they have made a case and traded for 3 firsts and got out of there and loaded up the team and given Levis one more year, injury aside, but given him one more year to see if he kind of made a progression with 3 first-round picks over the next year? You could have made a case for that. I don't want to make a case for him. I think he's got to run with it. So 4 wins, offense above 20 points. It kind of needs to check all the boxes for me not to take a quarterback if I like them. If you just don't like them, that's a different story. But
yeah. I should have specified and said, you need to win 4 games while also putting up 25, 26, 27 points a game to where you're up to respectability, as you said. I should have said that as well, but I think those things go hand in hand because this defense isn't good. And for us to win 4 games, you're probably going to have to score 30 points because the defense has probably given up 25, 26.
Yeah, I think the test as a quarterback. I mean, we all know it's a quarterback-driven league, but when your teams are this on this tier that we're on, it's like there's so many other things that can, outside of quarterback, that can determine whether you win or lose. But I think the main test with Shough and the rest of the year, and can he be a guy moving forward, is are you getting in the way of your coach doing what he wants to do with the offense? Are you getting in the way of him making the play calls that he wants to make to be effective? Now, kind of dovetails to what we're talking about with Shough, but my biggest, and also what we talked about with our concerns about Kellen Moore. But I think the scariest thing going forward, where I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel, is the rushing game. I mean, even beyond the play calling. I mean, he could have, we have 60 plays, 30 rushes, 30 pass attempts. I have zero faith that we're not going to run for anything more than 60 yards if we had 30 attempts, because this offensive line is woefully underachieving in its ability to run block. I know you don't have McCoy in there, but you've got a offensive line that can't really seem to execute the running blocks that they're supposed to be executing. And then who's running the damn ball? Devin Neal's not getting you those chunk yards. Maybe he's got good vision, sure. He's a good blocker in the backfield. Is AK getting it? A few carries a game, sure. But that's what's extremely concerning, because that's why you want to run it on first down. You don't want to just come out the box throwing. But if you can only get 2 yards at the beginning of every drive, and then second down, you want to catch them off guard. I mean, and then if you don't run consistently, then the play actions were shit. I mean, you can do a play fake, but no one's going to bite if they know you can't run the ball. So like, that's the most concerning thing for me, is that our offensive coordinator, who's apparently somebody who, our offensive minded head coach, who's somebody who uses the run to set up the rest of his offense, like, can't do that. So put anybody behind quarterback. I mean,
Well, I'm glad you touched on the running game, because we have the worst backfield in the league right now.
Yeah,
we have been down on this backfield for a while, and Kendra showed us some flashes this year, but in true Kendra fashion, got hurt again. This time in ACL, he's out for the season. Kamara retired in the offseason. He just didn't let anybody know. Devin Neal is a 6th-round running back who looks like a 6th-round running back. He's probably a 3rd stringer at best. Someone you can put in there and he can block a little bit. He'll probably be a good special teams player. This dude doesn't have the look of someone who's going to come in and be a featured back. I've been screaming for a running back with juice for years. We need someone who can take a carry. The fact that a 35-year-old fullback / tight end coming off a shredded knee is the only player in the backfield with any juice is despicable. The lack of talent in the running back room is unbelievable, man. Like, these guys are so fucking bad. Like, we have no threat in the running game. Like, Kamara, I've seen a lot of people on the social media talking about, like, why are we even wasting carries on Kamara at this point? And it's kind of true, because he talked about if he got traded, he was going to go sip pina coladas on the beach somewhere. Okay.
Yeah. Seen a lot of tweets saying, like, it's okay, buddy. He can go.
Yeah, like, fuck, I'll buy him a plane ticket. Like, this dude he's retired. He's done. Like, it's time to cut bait with these guys that we've been holding on to. The over 30 crowd, and they're falling off hard now. DeMario is probably the best one, but even he, I think Nick said he's on pace for 165 tackles or something like that. So he's having a good season
this past week.
Yeah, no, he's still getting his tackles, but I don't know, man. These guys are, it's time to move on, and we got to keep building out this roster with young players, and then hopefully hit on some of these young players and have them take the next step to where they can be dependable cornerstones on the team. We don't have any of them right now.
Yeah.
But
look, my problem with blaming, not being able to run the ball, when you don't commit to the run, you're never able to run the ball. The first 4 weeks, real quick, since we're talking about Alvin, and I don't disagree. I've been saying it. I couldn't believe last year happened with Alvin, because, like, to me, he's been, we've had those arguments about him not being able to break long plays for 2 years now.
Well, we did the Kamara game show, and what did we rank him at? He was in the 20s, I think, right?
He was in the teens, I think. He's not anymore, but he was when we did the game show. But the first 4 weeks, he got 11 carries, 21 carries, 18 carries, 15 carries, right? 45 yards, 4.1, 99 yards, 4.7, 42. That was a bad game. Seattle defense, pretty good, 2.3, but then 70 and 4.7. When you've given him the ball, he's been able to get you 4+ a carry. But you have to give running backs reps to feel the game out. 6 carries the last 2 games, that's never going to get it done. It's zero commitment to the run whatsoever. So I don't know if we're a horrible running team. We're not a great one. We know that. But when you only run the ball 12 to 15 times a game, you will never be successful in the run game.
Yeah.
You're just going to have to commit
some momentum, you see the best running teams are the ones that, like, wear the defense down over time.
Right. Yeah, but Alvin's never been a guy that gets the ball 25 times. Now,
he doesn't need a 25.
Exactly, that's my point. He doesn't need it. He's a guy that would get like the 10 to 14 carries and he'd get his damage there. Like, he'd never been the type that needed 15 carries to get into a rhythm.
Well,
those are the games he's done well.
He's always been at his best when Ingram, Thunder and Lightning, or Boom and Zoom. And then you had earlier this year with Kendra, or I'd say like after the first couple games when Kendra finally started getting some carries, You saw Alvin looking a little bit better. Things were opening up. I mean, so he needs either Devin Neal to step up or he needs the guys in front of him to block better. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely the most concerning part of possibly our entire team. I mean, defense looks pretty damn concerning, but like D-line, not great. But, if you try to think of like what's one of the worst possible setups for, a young quarterback, because that's obviously the biggest issue on our team is we need to evaluate the quarterback position. So it's like, you got a team who allegedly run blocks better than it pass blocks. And when it's tried to pass block this year, it's been pretty god awful. And then you've got like no confidence in anybody as a ball carrier. And the run block is underachieving. I mean, it sets up horribly to even get an evaluation out of Shough. Now, I mean, it makes you, if you can overcome that, then you see that. And if he can't find a way to overcome it, then you take that as it is. But that's the most concerning thing for me about the rest of the season. We have to figure something out. And it does take commitment, like you said, Nick. I mean, we have to commit to it. But
I think the only way is to take a little pressure off of him. I thought the same thing for Rattler. You have to run the ball, even if you're not super successful. You have to get to 3rd and 4 and 3rd and 5 and not 3rd and 9. 1 incomplete pass, 1 yard run, or 2 incomplete passes. You can't put them in those situations and expect a great deal of success. That's almost any rookie quarterback.
You're seeing like the jet actions out of the wide receivers. Like, every now and then you see the motion with Shaheed coming through or stuff like that. But, just try to call a couple jet sweeps. Like keep the defense honest, like run the ball a different way. Just because when a guy like that comes in motion, they actually have to account for him versus, okay, look, there's a guy moving. We're still going to come downhill anyway.
You know what? I do want to say one more thing about what I need to see out of Shough. And I'm going to use Jackson Dart as an example because Jackson Dart, that team is pretty lacking in talent as well since Neighbors got hurt. Scatterboo's hurt now as well. And Nick has gone on record many a time talking about how Brian Dable is one of the most overrated offensive coaches in the league. All of that being said, Jackson Dart shows flashes. Like you see flashes with Jackson Dart. Now, I was someone who was not at all high on him coming out of Ole Miss. But that dude seems to have something about him. Like, I know he's going to start for them over the next couple of years. Like, you can see it. And you can see he might end up being a really good quarterback. We just, obviously it's too soon to tell. That's what I need to see out of Shough. Because
you
we've seen Jackson.
Moxie's so bad right now, don't you?
Might as well say it, Moxie. But look, he's got it. He's got it, right? Like we watched him. None of us thought he was great coming out. No, none of us were clamoring for the Saints to take him with our top pick this year. And it's, but look, everything I've seen of him, obviously he had a horrible game against us. We were just handing the ball over left and right. But he's looked, you see there's something there. Yeah. That's what I need to see out of Shough over the next 8 games. I need to see those flashes that Dart makes so I can say, man, I don't know like if it's really there, but I'm excited to see him play a full season. Like that's what I need to see.
Well, with that in mind, I mean, one thing that I think makes Dart a little bit more difficult to defend is they're willing to let him run. He's averaging, I think, 8 carries a game. Mm-hmm. And there's designed runs in there. Shough supposedly has that athleticism, but you're also risking the injury concern, right? Is that what they do? Start mixing it up? Because that's going to take a little pressure off. I mean, Dart's been good passing, but mixing it up with him running has made him look a lot better, in my opinion. I mean, he's got 5 rushing touchdowns. So I don't know. I don't know if that's the answer, but if we can't run it well, why not have the quarterback run it? If that's one of his skill sets and why we drafted him, hey, give him 6 or 7 design runs.
He had that one design run, and he leaned in with his shoulders, fell forward. I mean, didn't look terrible, just but it'd be interesting if they do that. For whatever reason, I don't know that Dart has so many more pounds on Shough, but you just kind of feel like Dart is built a little bit better to take the contact.
He's stockier. Stockier. They're like the same weight, if I'm not mistaken.
More
I think Shough's 6'5", 219, And Dart's, I think, 6'2", about 220. So he's that stockier build. Oh, so we never got an answer from you. Defensive player of the game. Who was your pick, Corey?
I got to stick with my gun, Chase Young. I mean,
Okay. That's what I said.
brought up the
Nick
fact
was going Justin Reed.
because when I looked at it, Justin Reed had a good game for sure. He was all over the field, definite hustle. Even dove like completely. I thought it was kind of funny. He like completely laid out for a ball that he had absolutely no chance of catching. But obviously, he was. I mean, he was like a dead man layout, just like midair planking. But but I mean, it was funny with Chase Young. I was telling you before we hit record that I was like, yeah, it's got to be him. And then I looked at the stats and I was like, wait, the other guy that had a sack actually had filled up the stat line a little bit more, Jonah Williams. So throw an honorable mention to Jonah Williams because he was somebody who I think was practice squad. And then with Ridgeway getting sick, they elevated him or something like that. Wasn't really looking to play. But
Jonah Williams also played for the Rams previously.
Yeah, motivated.
So a little revenge game action.
Yeah. But I think Chase Young had things that didn't show up in the stat line. So I'm going to go with him.
Okay. So you gave us, so that was two of us saying Chase Young, and then you and I both said Shough. So we'll go ahead and give those two the players of the game for their sides of the ball, respectively. Obviously, the Rams won, so we all hit that. So we'll go ahead and get the new updated total. So Nick is still in the lead, 11.5. I'm in second, 9.5. Corey, you're at 7. And then I guess we got to talk about it. History-making moment this week.
That's right. We got it.
We got it.
Heavy
Tyler
odds,
Shough going over 0.5 TDs passing.
Got it.
So
I mean, that's the kind of year it is.
Well, we talked about it before you hopped on, and so we're going to take away the Labubu since Paul did not send the mini Labubu in time. That being said, it is still in play to come back.
Yep.
Because do you know what your total is?
Creepily lurking over my shoulder.
What do you know what your total is for the season?
$1.
No. Dollars.
Oh, what did you say before this game? 450.
You were minus 400, so
minus 400. So what?
369.
60 something.
69. You're negative 369.
Hey, we're moving in the right direction.
You're inching in the right direction.
We just got to keep it.
But hey, it's in the right direction.
It's it. Look, it's been a tough year to bet on. I've got.
We knew you could do it, Corey.
Yeah. Well, do you have anything you want to say? You want to give us a little victory speech?
I just like to thank all my fans out there first and foremost. Y'all really y'all rode with me this whole time. I know it's not been easy. I know there's been a lot of cursing at me when I'm not around, and that's okay. I don't blame you. But look, this is only the beginning, guys. Okay, this is the first step. It all starts with one. You can't hit a streak until you hit the first one. So from here on out, this might be the kiss of death, but I say let's go streaking.
Well, you had a lot of people pulling for you, man. Everybody in the Discord was excited.
It's funny, man.
It was definitely the high point of the game.
The more something happens, it's just kind of like, I think I said it earlier, where the teams towards the end of the season that get the most coverage are obviously the playoff teams as a whole, but then it's if there's ever a team that's in danger of going winless in a season, or like the worst team, the big talking points are who's going to make, what's the playoff seeding, and then who's going to have the first pick in the draft. So unfortunately it was on the bad end. Kept everybody interested because is he going to win one? Is he going to get it? Wasn't any big money, but it's just the fact that we got the win. Now, I do have to, I said it in the Discord, but I have to give a special acknowledgement to Juwan Johnson for actually holding on to that ball, because as this season was going, it would have been exactly the way, it would have been so predictable for Shough to complete that pass, Juwan to catch it, and then someone, peanut punches the ball out at the 1. That's really how this has gone all year. And so I don't want to, let this moment pass without acknowledging that it's kind of miraculous that he actually held on to the ball and crossed the goal line. And And Shough didn't have another real opportunity for a touchdown the rest of the game. So we got this one by the skin of our teeth.
Byron Young for the personal foul assist to keep the drive going too.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
That's a big one.
Thanks for popping our quarterback square in the side of the head.
Thanks for concussing him. Get him to throw a touchdown.
I'm surprised they didn't take him off the field just to check him out. You usually see him do that, but whatever.
He popped right up.
Yeah. But no. But
I like that he took that hit and threw a touchdown on the next play.
Yeah, that's right. He's got toughness, but yeah, it feels good. Felt good to get a lock. Felt good to just have it be done in the first half, and that way I didn't have to watch the rest of the game thinking about a lock. So
let me ask you this. So what is going to be your strategy going forward? Are you going to keep just chipping away, Andy Dufresne style, getting out of Shawshank, or are you going to go for it big?
Mr. Dufresne. Yeah, I think I'd keep chipping away for now. But, you got to see what's out there. I mean,
a lot of season left.
There could be multiple items of low-hanging fruit.
There we go. I like it. Like where your head's at.
Would each be a chipping away if chosen by their own, and you combine them, and little thing we like to call parlay. We'll see.
Yeah, well, I'm intrigued. Much like with Tyler Shough, I'm intrigued about Corey's locks because you
Max,
and Tyler Shough right now, y'all are going hand in hand.
Yeah, we're just going to take what the defense gives us here, Max. Not try to outthink the room. One game at a time.
You're 1-0 in the Shough era.
Well, you really tried. You almost Josh Allen'd me when you did. It was cute and it was good, but it's like I feel like I'm talking to like Maverick and Top Gun, just like you're dangerous, man. You're dangerous. You typed in the Discord, Corey's lock hitting in 3, 2, and I didn't even have time to look down to see that you had typed that before it hit. Thank God. Because I'm like, geez, what are we doing here? The last time you said anything, Josh Allen stopped throwing the ball, and when I needed him to hit the over. But
Corey, we're all about breaking streaks here.
You're dangerous here. You're dangerous, but it worked. Right. All right.
That's right. I am dangerous.
So anyway.
All right. Well, do we have anything else before we get out of here? We're creeping up on the hour mark.
Yeah, I mean, look, rivalry game, go to Charlotte. Maybe some strange stuff can happen. Who knows? But we need to.
I'm ready for the trade deadline. Trade deadline's tomorrow at 3:00. So we'll see something.
You're ready for a lot of nothing.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's going to be nothing's going to happen because we're ready to win now, and we're probably going to trade for somebody.
It's always a little bit unnerving when it's prime opportunity for a Lou miss to happen right before our eyes. So
I think that Lou miss is gonna come.
Hopefully they block any Philadelphia area codes or anybody whose caller ID rhymes with Osman.
Dude, fucking Roseman's been wheeling and dealing the last week and a half. She had like 3 trades.
Yeah.
And that's how you do it. Just keep, move around those back, the day 3 picks, and just pick up players. That's how you should do it.
Yeah.
He got a really good defensive end today. I mean, he just finds a way to gear up right before every midseason, every year.
Yeah. But I mean, I'd look for us to be buyers at the deadline. I think we're only a couple pieces away from really closing this window here. So
a couple dozen, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know we had Mickey Loomis on the pod. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I got nothing else. Corey, you want to take us home?
Yeah. I'll take this one home. So tough loss. We recapped it post-mortem. It's done. Hopefully we can bounce back. We'll come at you with the preview pod, Thursday or Friday before the game. But until then, thanks again for listening to another episode of the 28-3 podcast. Who dat?